Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the All-Star Wrestling Review Series for the 8th of January, 1983. Last full year before the major expansion of the company. This is probably, for a lot of people, the beginning of the end for pro wrestling in a lot of ways. Some people don't agree, but for those that grew up with the 50s through the early 80s, this is kind of the beginning of the end for them. The expansion into a more sports entertainment, cartoony nature, not exactly something that a lot of fans enjoyed. It's here for those that like it, and for those that came up on it, they don't know a lot better unless they study history, but that is neither here nor there. This particular edition begins with Buddy Rose and Ray Stevens. Ray Stevens, obviously a major force in the West Coast, with Captain Freddie Blassie and Lou Albano, defeating Curt Hennig and S.D. Jones in 8 1/3 minutes. Stevens beats Hennig following a knee drop to the head there. Stevens probably one of the favorites of many people. And Curt Hennig, a.k.a. later becoming Mr. Perfect, looking fabulous here. I actually love Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig. 81-82. He has a match with Eddie Gilbert, I believe, at Madison Square Garden. I haven't seen for at least 20 years that I'd love to re-see. I think it was from 82 at the Garden. But anyway, takedown by Portland standout Buddy Rose and Hennig, who at this point in his journey looks very thin, very, I guess you could say, focused. Then finally the tag off to Ray Stevens. Hennig hooks up on the headlock. Tag off to Jones, who follows through with same on Stevens. And things go pretty according to plan for the next several minutes. Tag back to Buddy Rose. Headbutt by Jones. Jones, of course, doing the West Antilles gimmick. And then there's a knee to the back, and then they toss over the top rope, which is not illegal in the WWF at the time. Hennig gets tossed to the outside, and Jones helps him back up to his feet, sends him back into the ring a little bit too early, and for the next 30 to 45 seconds, the heels take pretty complete control. Again, tossed to the outside. This time the managers get crashed into along the way and actually get brawled with a little bit. Bing, bing, bang. As post-match, we see Rose go to the top rope, hit a knee drop, but not, the bombs away, but not before things get out of hand there. We see several more minutes of brawling between the teams as they begin to kind of settle things up. But again, the heels taking the victory in about 8.5 minutes, as previously mentioned. Then we see we go into another enhancement style match. I believe Salvatore Balomo up here next, and he manages to be hooked up with Tony Russo, and they go just a hair under 4 minutes. Balomo is a standout in the area. Also, being Italian doesn't hurt, as that is a good bit of the fan base at the time is the Italian-American community. Head scissors by Balomo. Russo has been a bit of an enhancement talent around the area for a little while. Roll-ups by Balomo. Power attempted moves there, and Balomo doesn't get all he wants. Gets enough, though. Balomo hooking up on things, and ultimately, the basic hookup there. Drops the knee to the spine by Russo and tries to get an advantage. Balomo eventually does get the victory with a sunset flip in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3, and there we go. Superstar Billy Graham out next with the Grand Wizard. I don't think their partnership here in beginning of 83 is good. Many people calling the Grand Wizard the Grand Lizard at ringside. Graham, of course, doing kind of the kung fu thing. Tony Rico is the opponent for Superstar Billy Graham. Karate thrust to the throat finishes him off. Power moves by Graham throughout. Nothing to write home about, as Graham is completely uninspired here, holding on to the arm for a couple of minutes, getting the karate thrust, and basically being a shell of his former self. Graham not inspired, not happy with the gimmick, and frustrated as it was. The karate thrust certainly not a super sonic maneuver by any stretch of the imagination. About halfway through the program, maybe a little under, we go to Pedro Morales and Don Morocco. I believe highlighted from the Philadelphia Spectrum or somewhere else. Referee loses a bit of control in the contest. Morocco kicks at the referee and kicks him low, actually, at a point, and tries to get an advantage there. The continuation of the brawl is certainly not a good run here. And we kind of see the continuation of the brawl as a way to kind of keep things going. The feud there to plug Morocco picking up the Intercontinental Championship, which is what that does. We then go into a enhancement challenge match. Lots of enhancement work is super short on these 82, 83 televisions. One could assume it's probably because that there's, a desire to get as many people on TV as possible. Tony Colon and Rocky Johnson are up here next, and Colon is a good fodder for Johnson. Johnson, of course, the father of The Rock, and I believe his granddaughter is working now. Of course, he's passed away a couple of years ago. Anyway, takedown by Johnson, and he manages to keep going pretty aggressively, takedown, and stays on the leg pretty persistently. Johnson stalks around the ring, looks to be in really good shape at the time. The drop kick under the chin of his opponent is here, and then we see a good bit of fire back, and obviously the punches. After a hip toss and 2 drop kicks, Rocky Johnson gets the victory. The Buddy Rogers corner, as Rogers warns the tag team champions, the Strongbow brothers, Jules and Jay, that they need to watch themselves against Captain Lou Albano and the Samoans. I believe they defeated said team for the championships in 1982. Anyway, we go to another tag team match, which in this particular case is let's see, Tony Garea and Eddie Gilbert defeating Charlie Fulton, Tony Garea, Eddie Gilbert, and let's see, I can't even find the match that's there. Polish Prince is here, and that is what's there. Big John Studd out next. Studd in an enhancement match. Studd being brought forward after doing the run of the Executioners in the 70s. Studd does not have the full manager yet, and is not really in the midst of his major push until 1984. I believe he'd done some work in Mid-Atlantic at the time. Studd makes his way back into the ring after taking the enhancement talent to the outside and sending him spine first into the post. Needless to say, drops down on him and snaps over pretty aggressively and hits the Irish whip and back elbow there by John Studd. John Studd, of course, major force in time for WrestleMania 1 and 2 to a lesser degree. Studd gets the bear hug and gets the victory there. We go back to tag team action here. Charlie Fulton, there we go. I just had out of sequence things. Charlie Fulton and partner are in their tag match here. For some reason, I had to sequence it. But anyway, we go to that particular situation. Swede Hansen and Charlie Fulton are a weird team, as Tony Greer and Eddie Gilbert are a team. Of course, Eddie Gilbert later becomes a mainstay in Memphis, but not here. He and Kurt Hennig, two second-generation superstars, getting a cup of coffee with the WWF in 1982 and 83, late 82, early 83. Hansen tries to hook up the armbar on his opponent. Doesn't get all he wants on that, and to tag off to Charlie Fulton. Fulton, who really doesn't get a lot of credit because he does a lot of enhancement work more than anything in the major promotions. Then we see Gilbert, who hooks up on his adversary with an armbar. Gilbert, not quite ready and much, much different than his later persona would be. Certainly thinner, leaner, and some would even say easy to manipulate. Fulton bounces him around a little bit, sends him into the buckle, and tries to get an advantage over him that sticks. Doesn't stay very long, but sticks long enough. Drop of the elbow and a miss there. And Fulton again stays on the trouble. Tag off to Hansen. Hansen not exactly in a happy way. Kick there and again maintaining on everything. Then we see a drop kick under the chin and doesn't get all he wants on that. But the babyfaces do get a victory there. After the crossbody and a 1-2-3. Then we go to another enhancement match. As you see, major player matches here in 1983, not exactly a forte of the promotion. Continuation of Billy Graham being seen as a guy who is dropping, as we see Bob Backlund and Graham being revisited. Graham is angry at Backlund, never really getting a series of rematches as one would expect him to get. Billy Graham doesn't look quite like himself here in early 83 and certainly wants a series of shots with Backlund that never really materializes. Grand Wizard is advocating same. Then we see Don Morocco along with Lou Albano. Somewhere they had switched allegiances for Morocco to Albano. Morocco moving into being the Intercontinental Champion later in the same year, which was a major run, obviously, leading to the Jimmy Snuka situation. Big hanging, almost gourdbuster style maneuver. Morocco falling forward with a suplex rather than falling backward with it. Morocco then hits kind of a modified power slam and the inverted pile driver to get a victory. And that will close us for today. We'll be back with more right after this.